Welcome to the conversation. Today we're digging into an opinion piece that argues President Trump's 2020 scheme was not a series of rumors but a planned, textbook conspiracy. In a 2024 column, David French writes that Trump's roadmap to steal the vote relied on three lines: demonization, deception, and a legal loophole. The first move was demonization. Trump painted Democrats as a lethal threat to the nation and to the evangelical faith. He turned his supporters' fears and religious fervor into a weapon that painted the opposition as bent on destruction. By labeling them Democrat villains, he gave his base the someone-to-hate narrative that kept them mobilized. Once that enemy image was set, the next pillar was deception. Even after telling people evidence was non-existent, Trump and his allies flooded the media with conspiracies. He rang a bell and, as one Dat writer famously rewrote, flooded the media with sewage. Every claim was another building block in a deception machine that made ordinary Republicans wonder if 2020 was somehow wrong, even without knowing why. The third, most dangerous part is the legal theory that underpins the entire operation. Trump believed he could rip apart the certification of the election by pulling strings in the 1887 Electoral Count Act. John East Manick, a former dean at Chapman University and a prominent Federalist Society member, drafted a memo that basically told President Pence that he could simply hand the results over to Trump. Eastman's argument was so tenuous it cost him his law license, yet the memo echoed through Trump's inner circle and the MAGA public. He never went to a court. The memo was political messaging. It became the same playbook that almost toys around the January 6th moment. Pence's refusal to rule on the memo saved the nation from an outright takeover. He certified the ballot for Joe Biden, averting a constitutional crisis that could have exploded that day. Fast forward to today. Indy recalled that a new president of the House, Mike Johnson, looks nothing like the cautious military theorist Pence. Johnson has already filed a Supreme Court brief in support of Trump's election challenges in Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The former legal brief is a clear indicator that the same loophole is burning again. The article stresses that the Electoral Count Act can, the article warns, still be weaponized to let Trump, who no longer has a term to serve, stay in power. The piece warns us that a forgotten constitutional provision, combined with a vague federal statute, could open a door for this plan again. It reminds listeners that the January 6th tragedy was not just a mob on a street, it was a battle of the laws. The author urges us to watch out now for the same trickery. He stresses that to shield the next electoral cycle, we must anticipate future abuses. So, that's the gist: demonization fueled fear. Conspiracy claims planted doubt. And legal manipulation offered a potential exit route to overturn Barack's well-documented win. We can no longer ignore this combination. Abuse of the electoral system is always present, and it can be more deadly than it sounds. That's the article's warning. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode, and if you want to dive deeper into this topic, we've got a resource section in the show notes. Until next time, keep questioning and stay informed.